My name is Bob Babbitt, and welcome to Babbittville Classic Rewind, a collection of my favorite interviews with some of the legends of endurance sports that have aired over the past 3 decades. I'm hoping you will enjoy these interviews as much as I do. As always, endurance lives here. Huddle.
Yes.
Did you start training for Muddy Buddy yet?
Babbitt, you know I'm training for Muddy. I'm always training for Muddy Buddy.
Got a mud pit in the backyard?
Kidding me? Of course.
As well you should.
Yeah, Paul's a little bit bummed about the mud on the carpet and everything, but you know what are you going to do?
You know, Huddle, there's some big events coming up around the globe. There's major things happening. But what's most important is you crunched me in extreme golf on Wednesday.
Babbitt, that was the first time. And I didn't just crunch you. I mean, it came down to the last hole. We were tied.
14.
And what did I do? We knocked down the traditional two shots.
And par.
Birdie
you
and
took
par.
3 strokes out of me on the last
How'd you
hole.
do on that last one? Water and
bogey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you destroyed me 17-14.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure the whole radio listening public knows that you own me.
I've got skills.
That I am not just your bitch, I'm your poodle.
You are my poodle.
Thank you. So, Huddle.
Yes.
In studio. Oh, my God. It's like a flashback in time. We got Tom Knoll, did the 78 Ironman.
Legend. 78 Ironman. How many guys did it that year, Babbitt?
15.
15.
And
you were
15 started, 12 finished.
You were what, 35 then or something?
Well, how old were you back then, Tommy?
I think I was about 46 years old.
And that was your first Ironman,
Yes.
46 years old.
It was
and
the first
15.
one. Yes.
Who sticks out in your mind of those other crazy guys who did that first one?
Oh, John Collins.
Yeah.
Let's see, John Dunbar.
Yeah.
Let's see, Gordon Haller, who took first place.
Well, how did you end up in that thing? I mean, because, again, 15 people started, 12 finished. How did you hear about it?
I was standing next to the John Collins, who came up with the whole idea.
Yeah.
We were at a award ceremony at the Premier Brewery when he came up with the wild idea.
Now, Huddle.
So I know, did you see that euphemism in there? He said we were at an award ceremony at the Primo Brewery, because it's always been told about it was in a bar, but you see how he did that? Award ceremony.
Not only that, what I love is over time, John Collins, things have changed as we get more PC over time.
Yeah.
It used to be, it was in a brewery, somebody got up, all the good things happen in bars. I got an idea.
All the good ideas.
Let's put the Waikiki Rough Water Swim, the Round Oahu Bike, and the Honolulu Marathon together. They're in a drunken stupor. The next day they go, I said, what? So now, of course, when you talk to John, we're with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Right,
we're at church.
Right.
And we thought, how fun would it be to put a thing together and go around that? People were drinking a little bit, weren't they, Tom?
We were having some libations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, that is cleared up.
You heard it from the source.
We
he was
heard it
there.
from the source. This was under a drunken stupor. The Ironman was created.
Now, Tom, being a military guy, I mean, John, Navy, you're Marine Corps, right?
Correct.
Was it also, was everyone clear on the fact that you'd be starting in Speedos? I mean, was that... I mean, I'm sure in the Marine Corps they're not Speedo. I mean, I saw the
standard
picture of the
issue,
start.
Huddle.
We thought it made us go faster. It had the word speed in it,
Yeah, nice. So Tom, you thought maybe the Ironman wasn't enough because now you've got a new project that you're doing with your son, and you guys aren't just going 140.6 miles. You're going across the entire country. Tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on, and Warren, hop in there anytime you want, there, buddy.
Well, our project is we're doing for charity 112 segments of 30 miles, and it's ends up being 3,350 miles.
That you're doing what? You're running?
Running across the United States.
3,350 miles, and you're talking 112 segments. How many miles each crack? I mean,
that's 30 miles.
30 miles in how many days?
That's 112 days over 4 months. So it starts in the March 1st, and it ends July 4th in Marine Corps Memorial on July 4th.
Now, Babbitt,
yes.
I just curious, they're going to be running 30 miles a day or something. So
yeah.
When was the last time how long did it take you to rack up 30 miles?
30 miles
recently?
Is usually about a month? Like a mile a day or so. That's about my limit.
Isn't your theory if you're running, you're getting a T-shirt or you're not running?
My philosophy is that, if you don't give me a T-shirt, there's no reason to run. Why else would you run?
A free one anyway.
Right.
I got a T-shirt just for showing up tonight.
30 miles a day.
Yeah.
And Tom, how old are you now?
I'm 75, but see, I've cheated. My son Warren, this is his first time. Back in 78, I ran across the U.S. 64 days, 46 miles a day, so I'm slowing down.
Wait a minute. 78, that's when you did Ironman. So did you do it before or after the Ironman? That's what happens when you get old. You can't even remember.
Ironman was February. Actually, you know what? This is last Monday, the 18th, was the 30th anniversary. So,
Excuse me, let me change that. I ran across the United States in 1982.
oh, that those years
look
blend
at that.
together. It was a big deal.
So it really does go when you get older, doesn't it?
We talk about Ironman being basically thought of in a bar.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's 140 miles, and that sounded crazy.
Yeah.
So tell us genesis of, hey, I got an idea, son. Let's go run across the country.
What brothel, bar,
really,
where were
did
you
this
when
start?
this one was dreamed up?
Actually, it's just the opposite. My son has talked me into doing it again.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Forrest Gump 3.5, Tom Knoll 2. Final score.
Nice.
Well, we come from Milwaukee, and
yeah. Oh, okay.
We're,
okay. Well, you don't have to say anymore. Yeah.
Okay, say no more.
We're German,
Cheeseheads.
and we just come from the philosophy that we're doing it for charity, and we make it work.
Tell us about the charities that you have chosen.
Well, the charities that we have, the number one is the Wounded Warrior Project, and they provide prostheses for guys coming
Soldiers,
back from
right.
Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right.
The second one is the Challenge Athletes Foundation, which we all know from San Diego.
I've heard of them.
Absolutely.
I've heard of them.
I mean,
I know those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all inspirational. Every race I go to, I mean, all the athletes, I'm all for it, you know. And then the Sunshine Foundation, which they grant wishes to terminally ill children and abused children. And that's just the three. We have a few smaller ones, which is for the melanoma,
Right.
And for the presidential fund to, you know, get kids off their butts and go out there and work out instead of hanging out in front of the computers.
So Tom,
Nice.
this thing started. Your fitness obviously was something. You're being in the service. You were always pretty fit, and I know you've always been an ultra running guy. For you, what was after Ironman? What came next? And was it all? Is it always been ultra things? Because you've been stationed all over the globe, and you've been doing endurance athletics all over the globe.
Yeah, after Ironman, I went back to Okinawa.
Okay.
And shortly thereafter, I decided to do a charity run there for the Shriners and crippled children. So the island is 250 miles. So the first year I did the whole 250 in 78 hours. So the next year I says, well, I got to do something better. So I
can understand that. Yeah.
I decided I wanted to do 500 in less than a week.
500 miles in less than a week.
So it was
Have you run 500 miles in your life?
No. Why would you do that?
That is really silly.
250 miles
Tom, that's
in
really
70
silly.
something
By the way,
hours. I mean,
it's really a silly idea.
That's not just a long way and a ridiculous. That's pretty fast too.
Yeah, I made it with 10 minutes to spare, so I was sub 7, just short of a week.
When did you do that?
This was that was also in 1978.
So you had a lot of engineered nutrition and training programs and all the research and all the.
They had a lot of tech products back then.
A lot of tech products, yeah. A
Free
lot of
cups of
dry release stuff.
Well, Bob, to answer your question,
Yes.
I did do 33 years in the Marines, and 5 years was recon, and we went to Ranger School and Scuba School, mountain climbing, and it teaches you a lot of mental discipline, and that's what's really, I say that's at least 20% of this run that we're going to do.
Nice.
If you don't believe in it, you ain't going to make it.
For a lot of people that don't know what recon is, when you say Marine Corps recon, everyone knows what a Green Beret is or a SEAL is. This is sort of the Marine Corps equivalent,
This
correct?
is the equal to the UDT, SEALs, Special Forces, yes.
Got it.
All
So,
same schools.
If I gave you $5, you could kill Huddle right here and hide the body parts.
You're a good friend. You're a good friend. I'll do it for nothing.
And you know what's cool, Huddle?
Tom.
He's between you and the door. You're a dead man. We sort of like that. That is great. So
that's
Warren,
great, Tom. But I've got that picture of you in the underpants run, and that will be released as soon as I'm dead.
Warren, growing up, a lot of times when people sort of have the type of jobs your dad has, they go, "Well, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor." They don't necessarily tell you what they do for a living. Did you know what he did, and did you have a sense of how tough it was to do what Tom did?
Well, you really don't, because when you're in the military like that and in counterintelligence, he's kind of running around in the jungle somewhere. And I mean, how do you know how rough it is? I mean, you're at home with your heat and electricity and watching TV, and really don't know what it is to, climb around in the jungle.
Oh my God, I can imagine that. Being off now. Were a lot of times were you off in Okinawa and your family was still here, or did your family travel with you?
many times I was unaccompanied.
For a long period of time.
Like in 13 months in Vietnam, they didn't let us bring our families along.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's a
Imagine.
surprise.
So where else were you stationed? You were in Okinawa. Were you
I was in Okinawa.
the Philippines, maybe?
Got to the Philippines once in a while. I spent about 5.5 years in Thailand,
Yeah.
5 years in Munich, Germany.
How many languages do you speak?
Well, I've studied 9.
9
Wow.
languages.
That's ridiculous.
That's why he understands us, Huddle.
And he's
He can
like
figure-
trying to learn Hindu right now.
Yeah.
That's his.
I can understand that. There's a lot of demand for Hindu.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
There
fourth.
is.
it's the-
India. Yeah, I mean,
the
that's
fourth most spoken language in the world.
Is it
after
really?
Chinese,
Yeah.
Spanish, and English.
Yeah.
When you go to that Hindu restaurant, it's important to be able to
But
order.
one of the things that's really exciting is, especially for the wounded warriors
Yeah.
and the challenge
Yeah.
athlete also, is at 17 I got called in for the Korean conflict. At age 71 I was in Iraq, so I kind of did the whole spectrum.
Were you in Iraq at 71?
Yeah, and Afghanistan the year before that.
No kidding.
And what?
So you were.
I was
you
going to say,
in-
what were you doing
You
there?
were in Korea, and all the way to Iraq, Afghanistan.
So I flipped the numbers: 17 for Korea and 71 for Iraq. So
I always say when he lived in Milwaukee, it took Korea to take him out of there, and now he lives in Hawaii.
Yeah, well, Hawaii's a little better. A little better. Tom, after being in Kona in 78, or in Oahu in 78, when was the next time you were at the Ironman?
I was in the Ironman with Bob Babbitt in
Yeah.
Phuket, Thailand.
Oh, that was in when we did the Thailand race. But in terms of the time you were at Ironman when there was 15 people, was the next time when, was it in the 90s or
Well, I don't
2000?
know.
or
What did we have in Phuket? There?
Oh, the triathlon over there.
Yeah, the
Oh,
triathlon.
my God. Probably 1,000 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. But so you saw the growth of the sport.
Yes, it's unbelievable. It's hard to picture.
Yeah. And coming back to Kona and seeing what the Ironman has become must have really freaked you out.
It does. It continually does. But it's always a thrill to go back and see the new technology,
Yeah.
the speed, how everybody's improved on things. The thing about the first Ironman is none of us were competing against each other, truthfully.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure. The only goal was to see if any of us could do all 3 events in one day.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And just to be able to complete it was to win.
exactly.
So, Tom, all of the stuff you've seen, all of the differences in technology and nutrition, in the technical fabrics that people are wearing, has all of this stuff, in your opinion, made a difference? I mean, has it made a big difference? I mean, you probably have access. You obviously have access to all this stuff now. Are you using a lot of this stuff? Has it made any impact on your ability to train and do some of these events?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody now. People have their own coaches and all that
Right.
stuff, and there's a lot of new technology, even in shoes and swim
Sure.
gear and everything, etc. Bicycles. I had a $98 Sears and Roebuck Free Spirit. Now $5,000 for a bike is nothing.
Free spirit, man. That's a relic. That is a good piece
Put it-
of
I mean, I
machinery.
imagine you were training pretty much on dirt. I mean, you were living on dirt, just eating dirt. And
That's I love
pretty
it.
much, pretty
And some salt water.
and some salt water. Nice.
Now, Tom, are you still doing triathlon or primarily focused on running?
This year I'm concentrating, obviously,
Yeah.
on the U.S. run. I think the next year I'm going to try to get back. I need somebody to give me a hand on the swimming portion.
Oh, I think Huddle could do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Paul could do it.
Yeah,
Really.
Yeah,
so
I
you better
don't know.
not kill him yet.
Yeah.
They have
let
these,
him help
they
you.
have these
then
things
take him
called
down.
wetsuits.
They make the
It's a
wetsuit is the
wonder.
greatest invention known to man.
We got Dave Orlowski. He'll be down here
Oh,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Dave's coming down.
And Dave is going to try to do the 30th anniversary of Ironman. So
Good.
So, Tom, how you're going to be running 30 miles a day across the country? How is your body holding up? I mean, you've put a lot of miles on that chassis, yeah?
it's holding up real well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Just great biomechanics, or is there
Well-
anything you attribute that to?
Right at the present time, I call it LSD, long, slow distance.
Okay.
No, truthfully, speed would kill you in something like this because, in fact, on the last one when I did 46 miles a day, if you ran it fast, you got to get up the next morning and do it again.
Right.
And the next morning. So speed, if you're worn out in the morning when you're starting the next day, you
You're
got a major
screwed.
problem.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and have you taught this concept to your son? Is your son aware of this concept, or do you think youth is going to get
He's
the
still
better
a young
of him?
bull, but he'll learn.
Yeah, he'll probably learn on which day. What do you think? Day 3, maybe?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So you're doing 30 miles a day. What type of training have you guys been doing? Warren, what type of training have you been doing leading into this? Or do you figure, you know what? It's long, slow distance. I've seen the old guy run. We can fake it for,
Not really.
days.
I've done 5 Ironmans and
oh, cool.
50 halves and 50 marathons.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, I know how to train. I come from the firm belief that you shouldn't do way too much and burn yourself out.
Right.
So I've done about 5 20-milers, some 18s, but I'll work my way up and eventually, it'll be 30 a day when I'm on the road.
Did you hear that, Babbitt? You shouldn't do way too much and burn yourself out.
You should run
30
120
miles
days in a row.
day
Yeah, I think
for,
that should be a
across
problem.
the country.
Yeah.
Don't want to burn yourself out.
112 days in a row.
Now, Warren, you're adding a little twist to this. I understand. You're going to get some cycling in along the way as well.
Yes, I'm also when I get done with the day of running, I'm going back to point A where we started, and I'm going to bike to 30. So I just came to the realization that we're going to hit a few mountains today, and I might have to get a more of a better cassette on the back of my
Good
bike.
thinking. Good
Maybe
thinking.
21, 23 doesn't work anymore. Might have to go up to 27.
Yeah, I
you
was
know
gonna
what those
say
things called the Rockies?
Yeah, yeah.
You may want to put something on there. That
I don't
can help you get
recall
over
a downhill route across the country. I mean, that's going to be tough. What is the route going to be? Where are you guys starting, and how are you doing this?
Well, we actually start off in San Diego, and then we go to Palm Springs.
There's a few hills in between here and there. Just
I
FYI.
guess there was this big canyon that they keep on talking about.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. I wouldn't
And
worry
then
about
we end up making our way over to Phoenix, which is kind of flat.
It's flat,
I mean,
it's
but
pretty
then
flat,
it. There's
yes.
not much wind. It's a
back
desert. I
to
wouldn't worry about it.
Albuquerque, which is
Albuquerque, yeah, you're gonna have a
there's a
few
couple
hills.
mountains along
Altitude.
the way there.
Yeah.
And then we make it over to Amarillo, which
Beautiful
it starts
part.
to flatten out, but
And there's no wind in Amarillo. I can tell you that from
No.
experience.
It's really calm.
nothing
calm.
like
It's really
a couple of
calm place to be.
sagebrushes coming at you,
Yeah.
tumbleweeds and stuff like that. It's going to be kind of windy, and then we
But-
make it over to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Panhandle. Hopefully, it's not
Are
tornado
you guys going to have a
season-
good supply of
season or
Prozac
anything.
as you're doing this? I mean, there's some scenery issues there that I can see coming at you.
Well, there's always beer along the way.
Nice.
We
So
make.
you guys aren't really serious about this nutrition stuff. You go out there and you'll.
I'm always serious about it. I mean, need the.
But you guys need some
goo
brats
and,
too, right?
Hammer gel or whatever,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have Gatorade.
Mhm.
We have our sponsors. We have Baker's breakfast cookies.
Good.
So we're always totally cognizant of hydration and nutrition. But on the other hand, you kind of have to lay back and not, let the whole
Right.
mileage thing take over because it would totally consume you. Like I've always
It's gonna
learned in
take over.
marathons.
It's going to take over.
Like I always
how can
learned
I
about
not?
marathons, you should always look at it in smaller scales. It's a 10K run, 5K
You break it
run,
into
or-
small pieces, just like Ironman, little bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. If you look at everything, you look at the swim of Ironman and you think, that it's going to consume you. Well, it's only 5% of the race itself.
It's the rest of the race that's going to consume you. I wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about the swim. So tell us a little bit about. Obviously, you can't do something like this on your own. You got to have a crew. You got to because there's going to be points during this thing where you guys are going to be pretty worthless. You're going to run, and then somebody's just going to have to scrape you off the pavement and take care of you and give you food and whatever.
Well-
So tell us a little bit about the plans for when the run is done each day.
Well, we planned this for a year and a half, and my main man, I have two of them actually, is Hubie Krawczyk, and he's my partner in both my publication company and the nonprofit company.
Okay.
And then we have Mickey Rismick from Cleveland, and he's integral on both.
Absolutely.
Both of those, and
He owns
obviously
Cleveland.
I've planned, and so I mean it's such a task. I mean, every day we get calls. What's the course going? We have we're working with the American Legion. They're coming with motorcycles and coming. Where are you going to be? Are you sure that's the right road?
Right.
And stuff like that. I didn't know that was interstate. So it's even the course alone is such a tough process.
Big time.
So that's some people you can ride on some of the interstates. You can't run on them though. So
how are people going to follow you along the way? I mean, is in this web universe, are people going to be able to track you and see where you're at and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, we're going to have our course that you can track on usfreedomrun.com.
usfreedomrun.com. Cool. And so people will be able to get updates and see where you're at and what type of mileage you're doing and what you're spitting up that day. Be able to check all that stuff out.
Yeah, you can go into the RSS feed, the feed, and then when we blog, we'll send you an email. And
oh, cool.
We kind of figured that out.
Now,
will you? It would be cool, Huddle.
Yeah.
Remember when we had Kenny Souza riding across country as Mr. Peanut?
Oh yeah, we were getting updates.
He was calling us like every Sunday from different places in his peanut outfit, which was very exciting.
Yeah, we met Kenny.
It probably wasn't great, but
we met Kenny at Wildflower when he was training for that.
Oh, remember for Ram?
Yeah,
when he was riding, doing like 5 loops at a Wildflower course in the middle of the night.
Quite the wild guy.
Yes,
he was right next to us where we were camping. So
nice. How much Red Bull can you take?
And other things.
That's awesome. So, maybe we can convince you, one of the crew, to call us on the Sunday nights from wherever you're at and keep us updated on what's happening and if father and son still like each other. Because Mr. Peanut tried to kill Kenny a number of times during that bike ride.
They got in a big argument in the middle of Kansas somewhere, and Kenny got off and went in the motorhome, and Mr. Peanut had his outfit on, so he couldn't get in, so he just tore the cages off the bike and threw the bike out into the field.
Yeah, and Kenny tried to pick up the bike and throw it, but he couldn't lift it.
Yeah, true.
I got the luxury that the old man's going to start a little earlier. I'm going to go buy him, and
you hope.
As much as we don't like each other, I won't hang around too long.
Oh, nice. Well, that's cool. So for you, Tom, this must be a dream come true to do something like this with your son.
Oh, yeah, this is really exciting. And I know he can do it. I'm really proud of him because I don't think if this comes through as we plan, and it will, I don't think anybody else has ever run and biked across the United States at one time. So we maybe can even get a Guinness Book of Record out of it.
There you go. Guinness is good.
And some of the things that we're going to do at night, I brought a Chinese abacus along, so we're going to learn how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide.
Sweet.
We got a book on astronomy, so when we're in the middle of nowhere, we can learn all the galaxies.
Warren looks very excited about that.
And then
what is the abacus?
And then I'm going to study Hindi. So
you'll be studying Hindu as well. I think that'd be very good for you, Warren. So you guys are able to
just figured out the calculator.
Nice, that is great.
Warren, I just worry for you at the end of a day when you've run 30 miles, in convincing yourself to get in a car and go back, and then get on a bike and then ride that same 30 miles. I mean that. I see crying in your future.
Well, also I think what would be even better is you finish at 30, get on the bike and ride 30 from there. And that way you eliminate that 30-mile run the next day and just wait for the old man to show up.
That's Babbitt thinking. See?
That's the way I would do it. I'd have my dad run twice as far as me.
Ride and tie.
What do you think? Tom's that a good plan?
It sounds great to me.
Like my dad said, though, everything is mental. I mean, if you're running 20 miles and you go, should I run or should I walk? I mean, you just implanted the idea in your mind that you're going to walk.
Right,
that's
true.
I mean, it's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
So if you're going to think on the neg, then you're going to always be on the neg. You got to always think positively.
And we might do a few Jeff Galloway miles, too.
Oh, run and walk? Absolutely.
Run, walk, yeah.
Roll.
And, actually, I always say it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
But last thing that I can think of is when you take on something like this, the easiest thing is say you're going to do it. And if you tell enough people, then you have to do it.
That's true.
And you know that you're doing it for charities. It's for kids, granting wishes. You're doing it for the troops. I've been in Iraq and all these places. And so you have a responsibility. Once you
really
make the statement you're going to do it, you better do it.
You better do it. Absolutely. Cool. Well, we know you guys are going to do it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a great time, and hopefully you'll keep us updated. We love this. You start when? You're starting,
Saturday.
This is actually, we're taping this a couple days ahead of time.
Yeah.
So By the time you folks are listening to this on Sunday, you guys will be on the road for a day, probably hating each other already.
Yeah.
Hey, that would be fantastic. You guys might be to Escondido by the time we're talking.
Your crew probably will be ditching you about the time you get outside of it.
I'm out of here. Mickey's like, should we go? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. These guys are losers.
You don't have the military training
and
like he does.
one last thing, too.
Yeah.
When you go on the website, you're going to be able to see how much has been donated. And this is like, I ran for Jerry Lewis. I did almost 100 miles a day for 3 days. It was 3 days and 7 hours for 300 miles. And as the people see the Jerry Lewis telethon and they see money coming and they get excited.
Absolutely.
So this snowball is just going downhill a little bit now. We're almost to 10,000. And people they're going to feel the spirit and they want to join it and do something. So it's going to be exciting.
Well, you know what's cool, Huddle?
Yeah.
If you're Tom Knoll, something that you can always say when people say, you're a triathlete, did you ever do Ironman? Yeah. What's the best you ever finished? I was 6th at the Ironman World Championship. I tell people I was 56th when there was 108 of us. They don't know there's 108.
It's like 1,200 for me.
You were 6th at the Ironman Triathlon World Championship, period, end of story.
I love
and now
that.
you're going to run across the U.S. 30 years later.
Somebody says there's only 15. I says, that's not our fault.
That's absolutely
right.
You could have came out.
It was
can only race who's there, baby.
Everybody was welcome.
You only race who's there. Tom Knoll, Warren Knoll, thank you guys so much for coming in studio. I know it's below zero in here. We're trying to get you ready for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Because
that's
when
gonna
you
be
guys
tough.
start
We
heading
just came from
east,
Milwaukee. At least
that's
I
a good
did.
point. That is a good point. So who's going to be cooking the brats along the way? That's all I want to
Hubie,
know.
can you cook?
I can make it happen.
There we go. Perfect.
It might not be the best one. We'll make it work.
Forget it, eat them raw.
There you go.
Well, good luck, you guys. Run safe, and we want to hear all the stories. Hubie, they may not be coherent, so you and Mickey may have to
you may
keep
have to
track
fill
of this
us in.
stuff. Yeah.
Plus, we'll see you in Kona for the
After
30th anniversary.
That's right.
And get to read Bob Babbitt's new book that's coming out.
It should be out. Hopefully
30
be
years
out
of
by
Ironman.
then.
And
Hopefully be out.
And I'll have some of my books, Why Not a Millionaire, also.
And if people listen to this and they hear this and they think you're going to be coming through there, they get on the site and they see you're coming through, they can come out and run with you, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we don't even. You could have a mile or do a mile, 5K.
Whatever they want to do.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
A daily registration site through Active.
Right.
Okay.
They can
People-
come out on any one of those 112 segments and run.
Very nice. And what you really need, somebody please get on a bike and let Warren draft you because he's going to be in no shape
He's
to
going
ride
to
that
need someone to
bicycle.
sit behind.
He
Throw
needs
me
some
a
help.
cord.
There you
I'll
go.
take it.
Hey, boys, thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it. Make sure when these boys come to your area, show them a little hospitality. Come on out there. Go for a run. Go for a bike ride. Buy them some dinner, for God's sake.
Oh, my God.
Thank you so much for listening to this edition of Babbittville Classic Rewind. And don't forget to check out our huge library of interviews with the most decorated triathletes in history on Breakfast with Bob.
Ask me what I want to be, and I will say I will be me.